Alright, you lovely lot. Welcome back to the NE1 Podcast with me, Ray Elliott, and my good, handsome mate here, Sam Warner. Alright. So.
Wisp, we were just off camera there talking about the
Wispy
in-between
Warner.
stage of when you're growing your hair.
You're nearly there though, eh? It's nearly behind the ears.
Yeah, I won't take this cap off because it's too wild.
It's a permanent fixture, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
And we're joined by a very special guest today. Sam, do you want to do the introductions?
Yeah, this is a special one. This is Bailey Dowman, right? This is my nephew.
Yeah.
And in our day jobs, when we're out talking to guys on building sites, and especially in recent times more the kids in the colleges, I talk a little bit about your story, Bailey, and it's similar to mine, and hopefully today we can dig into that and find out a little bit about what it is like being a young lad these days out in the world, when the culture is it's overwhelming now, isn't it? It's digital. We both came from a family that sadly separated younger, and yeah, your journey has been interesting, and you've been through a bit, and hopefully today we're going to dig into it and see what we can mine out of it.
Yeah, 100%. Happy to be here.
You don't realise it, but we've been talking about getting on this
Yeah.
podcast for a long time.
We
now.
have, yeah, we
And
have. So
weirdly, we've never met before today, right? But I feel
yeah.
like I know your story, obviously, through talking
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Sam, and he talks about, and like you say, is we go into colleges, and we what's becoming apparent is that, you know, a lot of your life story is a real problem in not, well, every city in the UK, innit? Like,
Yeah.
and you're the youngest guest we've ever had on. 18.
Aye.
18, yeah.
So I'm really excited to get like your unique perspective on where we're at in the world today and the challenges that you face, and
Yeah.
and you're up in the tune,
Yeah.
and we're just talking about it. Don't know what's coming next, don't know where we're going, but we're up in the tune, eh?
See where the wind takes us.
Well, look, I'm sure the wind will take you to the big market, and and you'll be chasing those bonny little Geordie lasses around, giving them your patter, and you'll be like a foreign exotic fruit to them. And
Oh, if we drop one of his raps on the back of here in the links, his
Yeah.
rapping's amazing. I mean, we're going to get to know Bailey, aren't we? He's an incredible young man with an incredible story.
Yeah, appreciate it.
yeah, so the rapping,
Yeah.
should we talk about that?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I make music. Mainly rapping. No type of rapping. Obviously, when I was young, like involved in all the madness, I was doing like what's known as drill rapping.
Yeah.
Um,
Did that originate in the UK, drill?
I think so, yeah. It sort of came from, grime, like
Yeah,
Skepta and
Yeah.
gigs and all that. But I don't do none of that anymore. I mainly do what I like to call like real rap, just songs about my story, or sometimes I'll make a story up that I know people can relate to.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's it really. Every song I make is a story. So
I've got to jump in at this point as well, right? Because Bailey's obviously staying up here, and people know a little bit about my story, music and stuff. Jesse, my lad, Sonny, but Jesse especially, just
Yeah.
looks up to his cousin like, oh, he's God, right? And because I've always made music, we've got a little marking garage band and the little setup, as you know, right? But yeah, after hearing your raps and seeing your little journey, Jesse's up there and he's writing stuff, and he's even done like one of your tunes where he's done a nod to you. But since you've been here, you and him have made a tune together, and like that side, that escape, which I'm sure we'll get into on your story, like escaping through getting stuff down on paper, music, the expression of it all, like for young men to kind of get emotions out through music's a big deal, and seeing my little boy sort of go on that path in your wake that's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's lovely.
yeah, it is.
The inspiration side of things, right?
Yeah.
How important has that been as part of your sort of journey, having that outlet and being able to express yourself through music?
Major. It's been a major thing in my life. Even now, it always will be. Like Sam just said, like I can just get, even listening to music that's not mine. Like, don't matter what music it is, I can just put my headphones on and sort of just get lost. Like close my eyes and just go for hours. Don't matter where I'm going, in the gym, on the train, even sat inside, headphones on. And yeah, it's some people will experience it, some people won't. But I can get lost in music, and don't matter what I'm going through, music can help it a lot and motivate me to do certain things. You know what I mean? So
I think everybody listening to this podcast can probably relate to that.
Yeah.
We often talk about music, you know. I spent a long time travelling, like around the world at a young age.
Yeah.
And I'll, you know, a song can come on and I'm back in that place. I remember exactly what I was looking at, where I was, like
the smell and everything.
The smell,
you can even get smell, can't you?
Yeah, music's got that power, hasn't it? And it's pretty amazing.
It's like a medicine. It is like a medicine.
Yeah, and the weird thing is, right, because like we know the power of talking, and you know this is powerful about sharing your story, and obviously the person who's creating the music is sharing the story and taking you on a journey, but you listening to that, sometimes it's therapeutic in a way, because you're going, oh, I'm not on my own, because they're talking about my life, or they're talking about something I've been through.
Yeah.
And that's what I really like about your music. Sam's played some of your tunes, and like, I mean, you're 18, right, and you've been through a hell of a lot, and we will talk about that.
Yeah.
But like you say, you the way you deliver it, and it's totally honest, and it's not, you know, like a lot of people associate like rap as like, oh, it's all bling, it's all girls and all that.
Yeah.
You're talking about
life.
Real shit, openly, totally, brutally honest.
Yeah.
And I think that's really refreshing.
Yeah, 100%.
It is, and like you say about Jesse, you know, the message, you know, the delivery, the feeling of the music's still the same. It's still got all that intonation and that attitude and the effect of it, but the lyrical message, that what you're actually saying is you know, and one particular track, and maybe, you know, with your blessing, maybe we'll share this one, but the one, Guns and Knives, right? I don't want to rap about guns and knives and taking lives, right? And my little lad's singing that, and he's singing the melody in it. But the more we talked about it, and I've said to him, look, do you know what Bailey's saying here? What he's saying is he's not glorifying all that. He's saying that is not the way, like that is not the answer. That's just going to bring more pain, more darkness, and it's actually that message going through that breaks that cycle for young people. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's been abundant in what I hear from you.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's funny, you sometimes hear artists, right, and they get trapped in a sort of lifestyle where, you know, even in a negative way, it's inspired them to make music, and they sometimes can't get out of that lifestyle.
Yeah.
Do you know, does that make sense to you?
Yeah,
like, I've heard a lot of people say, oh, you know, I was trapped in that moment, and they struggle to get away from it. But what you're doing is you're trying to move away from it and put a positive spin on, saying, listen, this is where I've been, but it's not cool. Like, you know, it could end you up in a world of hurt.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I have been there, and I'd say I got lucky, but at the same time, I think I could have. Obviously, we're going to get into it, but my situation, I could have came out of it with everything that happened and still carried on doing what I was doing and still gone down that route. But instead, I did decide to listen to, in my opinion, what God was telling me. And you know, if you truly believe that what you're in is bad, and you're telling people that, you know, you can't escape it and there's no way out, I just think that if you want to get out that bad enough and you know what you're doing is wrong, then you're going to find a way. You're going to find a way to get out. You know what I mean? And that's just my opinion. And God, I was lucky. God definitely showed me what I was meant to do and where I was meant to go. And a lot of people, I know people that are still in that life that didn't have the opportunity that I've had, and it's hard, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? It's complicated.
It's very complex, isn't it? Because on the one hand, I know what you're saying, like, to have the look, things to sort of appear, God, a moment, an epiphany, a conversation, support, encouragement, or what but you've still got to be ready for that. You've still got to be able to absorb that and sort of recognise it and take it. Because again, we'll get to, you know, what you've been through, but regarding the drill music and that life and a lot of that rapping that celebrates it, some of the stuff you've been through is gold. Brilliant. That's my next fucking album. Brilliant. That's just risen me up higher, because that's dangerous. I can elevate you in that world. That's the fork in the road you were at, isn't it? I guess is that
100%.
It's weird because you were talking about this yesterday, eh? Because, you know, you talk about having that moment in your life and you move away, and it's not just moving away from the things you were doing in a place, even like it's that group of mates you had as well, and people you grew up with, and sometimes you've got to move away from that, and there's a level of guilt attached to it as well, isn't there? Where you're looking back and you're probably still in touch with people who aren't in a great place, and you feel guilty about it because you're like,
100%.
Yeah,
you've got to be willing. It's the same with everything. Like, if you want to make a change, you've got to be willing to sacrifice whatever you need to sacrifice to gain what you want to gain. You know what I mean? Like, you've got to commit. It's the same with everything.
Yeah. Sorry, I think it's either one of the dogs or the cat.
Yeah, it's like Twycross Zoo in here at the minute. We've got cats and dogs, but
Yeah, I'm thinking Reggie might make an entrance at some point. So shall we get into it then? Get into your journey. Where did life start for you? Where is your road taking you, and then we'll arrive at where you're at.
Yeah. So I was born in Lincoln. I grew up in a place called Birchwood, which some people will say it's nice, some people will say it's not, but it's home to me. It's where my family's from. Went to primary school, loved primary school, really loved primary school. And yeah, my mum and dad, they broke up when I think I was one or two. And then yeah, life was good, to be honest. Obviously my mum and dad was drinkers, not that heavy, but you know, just the typical. And then we moved to Rotherham when I was, I think, 9 or 10. And then yeah, went to a new school, and sort of ever since then, life's just up to now sort of just went downhill. So yeah, it was
Rotherham, South Yorkshire.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a hard edge in Rotherham, right? It's a tough old industrial part of the world where you know, there's a lot of poverty, and like with a lot of areas in the world. But yeah, when you moved there, what was the situation, Bailey? Was it? I remember obviously being in the family. It came around quite quick because obviously your mum's going through life like we do, dealing with things happening, and a change was on the horizon, and try and make life better, I guess.
Yeah. So my mum was with, I'm not going to obviously say any names, but my mum was with my sister's dad at the time. They was together for quite a while, I believe 9 years or something.
Yeah.
It's a pretty stable, nice time.
Yeah,
is that when you were in Lincoln?
Yeah. I was still in Lincoln at this time. And it was, in my opinion, me growing up, obviously in the household, like, it was healthy. If there was food on the table, like, whatever we wanted, we got. Whatever we needed, we got.
Yeah.
But obviously that's from the outside looking in. On the inside, my mum will say that it wasn't the best, and to be honest, it wasn't. So my mum just decided to call it a day, and yeah, they broke up. And then yeah, my mum basically met a new man, and he lived in Rotherham. So yeah, we just moved to Rotherham. Personally, I didn't want to move to Rotherham, and it was pretty hard for me.
And you were what at this age? 9?
I was 9 years old.
Tricky age, innit? Because you've formed friendship groups, and like
exactly.
you say, studying school and families there.
Yeah, it was hard. I remember when we first moved to Rotherham, we were still going to school in Lincoln, and it was like an hour drive there, hour drive back. Remember, I used to be late, and then I'd get picked up early. You know what I mean? And all my mates are thinking, why is this happening?
Yeah.
I've stopped going to my mates, you know, like family friends and stuff. Usually we go there every weekend. Stopped going there. I'm asking my mum, like, why are we not? What's going on? Why are we eating different to everyone else? And yeah, I remember I used to cry on the way to school, cry on the way back, because I just didn't want to move. I didn't want to leave Lincoln, but it happened, and that if that didn't happen, I wouldn't be sat here. So
it's all part of the journey, isn't it?
Yeah, it is what it is, 100%.
So when you got to Rotherham, and you obviously had to start a new school and whatnot, and I would imagine find new friends, was that easy, or were you classed as like a bit of an outsider? Was it?
Sort of both. So yeah, it was quite funny. Like Sam said, Rotherham's a bit rough, and if you go there, you'll know what I mean. I don't know why you would go there. But if
anybody who's from Rotherham,
big love to South Yorkshire though.
Yeah, I haven't got a problem with anyone from Rotherham. I ain't got a problem with Rotherham. This is just my experience. And yeah, I remember when I first went to school, when I first went to school, it was mad. So obviously I'm from Lincoln. In school, there's the odd fight, but it's not the school that I went to. There's not really any fights, no tussles. And my first day, a kid came up to me. He ended up being my best mate, and he just came up to me and he was like, "Are you hard?" And I was like, "What?" But I didn't want to say no, so I was just like, "Yeah."
Yeah, how do you answer that? How do you answer that, really?
Yeah, exactly.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
But then,
well, yeah. Actually.
but yeah, and he was just like, all right, well, I'm the first artist, he's the second artist, and now you're the third artist. So I was just like, sweet.
And this is classic, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Classic
But then,
crack.
and then after that, we ended up being best mates.
I thought you were going to say, oh, then we had a scrap.
Yeah.
Because that's how
I'm
it
the
often,
first artist. You're the second.
yeah,
artist.
it often happens that way with young lads. But
Yeah.
it used to, you know,
Yeah.
we'd have a fight and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, actually,
Yeah.
wait to be mates.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, you're tightest mates for life.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
So you went in as the third hardest kid on your first day.
yeah. And I definitely wasn't. But I wasn't gonna say no. You know what I mean?
No, exactly.
So, you gotta back
So
yourself.
in a weird way, I mean, we joke, but there's a survival primal instinct having to kick
100%.
in there straight away
Yeah.
because you're in a new place.
Yeah.
You know, your mum and your stepdad and what the life that was pretty secure that you knew has changed. So you're in a new environment and you're just in that survival state. Your nervous system's just kicking in, and you're like, I guess that's the start of you sort of having to be you. Like
So-
you're out in the world as you.
Was fighting like part of who you were in Lincoln, or like was that ever a thing in school then, or did you have to now be like, oh, I've got this thing I've got to live up to?
So I've always done boxing. Obviously Sam and my other uncles, combat's always sort of been in the family. And yeah, Sam, I think like did pads with me or something when I was like 6, and ended up just saying to my mum like, you need to get him in the gym. But I've never, you know, to be honest, I like boxing, you know what I mean? I love a spar, I love sparring, but I don't like fighting. I genuinely, I don't know what it is, I don't like fighting, but yeah, when I was in Lincoln, never really had fights, obviously tussles and pushing about as kids, but never really had scraps. And then when I did move to Rotherham, I had a couple scraps, but like I say, I hated it. I remember one time I had a scrap and I did not want to do it. I ended up like basically delaying it and saying to the guy like, we'll do it on the weekend, because I just didn't. I was scared. I just didn't want to do it. But all my mates were ringing me up like, you're gonna have to scrap him. Like, you're gonna do this. You're gonna do that.
Oh,
so
that was horrible.
horrible.
Oh, mate, I remember
Yeah,
that
butterflies.
feeling,
Like,
Oh,
not
if it just erupted like in a football
Yeah.
match or something, there and then
It's
off the
not
back
right.
of
well,
a
that's
tackle.
what I prefer.
But
it
if you've
just
got to meet
happens-
someone and like,
Yeah. And he was older than me, bigger than me. He was a boxer. He had a fight with my mate's big brother and battered him.
I remember you telling me this.
So yeah, that was scary. But yeah, when we first moved to Rotherham, I didn't have any fights. I was just a fragile little kid, and with everything that was going on, like I was just quiet. But then obviously, since that guy asked me if I'm hard, he was like the main kid. So obviously I'm chilling with him, and then I'll come in like the main popular group, but I'm the quiet one, and everyone's telling me I've got a posh voice because I'm from Lincoln, as a joke, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was interesting. It was really, but yeah, me and him ended up being really close mates, which was pretty cool. Yeah.
That's an interesting point you make about the boxing gym, right? Because
Yeah.
you know, there's a lot of young lads going around having scraps in school and stuff,
Yeah.
and you know, when you go into somewhere like a gym and you there's discipline, and you're looking at kids and they're about 8 stone soaking wet through, but they'll
Whip
stand,
through you.
They'll stand and box your lips off, and then generally don't go out looking for trouble,
No,
right? And they're the
'cause
ones
they
that
know.
do it. Yeah. Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. I think it instills a bit of that in you. So it's interesting you to be really honest about that, and
Yeah.
you know, that's a really different take on it, innit? And then
Yeah.
having to be in this environment and be like, well, I'm the third hardest kid in the school. Now, so,
Yeah, I didn't even have to prove it. just got it. I was lucky.
Front it.
Yeah.
Front it up.
So did you stay in Rotherham then? How long were you there?
So I was in Rotherham obviously from 9 until 15.
Right.
And then obviously we'll go into it, loads of mad stuff happened. I ended up moving to a quiet place, and it's not, I say we moved to Doncaster. If people think of Doncaster, we didn't live in Doncaster, but it was
Sort of on the
under
peripheral.
Yeah. So
Suburbs.
so we moved to like the outskirts of Doncaster.
And was that because of what was going on in your life?
Yeah.
So do you want to tell us a little bit about that then? What
That
happened?
fragile 9-year-old kid
Yeah.
at school, where did he end up in Rotherham?
So basically, obviously, it was a weird one. So I've gone to this primary school in Rotherham, and then I've gone to secondary school, because I went to Rotherham, when I went to school in Rotherham primary school, I joined in year 6. But then all my mates that I made in year 6, none of them was going to the secondary school I was going to. They was going to a different one. So it was tough. It was basically like I've came to Rotherham, started again, made a load of mates for a year, and now I've got to Like, I even got a girlfriend, and then now I've got to start again.
Do it all again.
Yeah, so that was tough. I remember I got bullied for a few weeks, and that's when I did have a fight, and I had to, there was 3 of them, I had to smack a couple of them, and then they stopped, and then because I did that, all the popular kids are bringing me in, and I'm mates with all them, and then yeah, I had only a couple fights, and to be honest, mainly defending myself, never looking for a fight. I was just defending myself, and then yeah, ended up, obviously, I say it like you do, I was pretty young, but just trying weed and having a few drinks and that, and just not.
Would that have been like year 7? You what, 12, 13,
I think
11?
I think I was 12, yeah, when I first tried weed.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't actually touch me, which was mad. I was with my mate, I remember, and we did it, and I ended up saying to my mate, like, can you feel this? And he was just gone. And I was like, we're gonna have to do it again. Like, so we did, and I enjoyed it, but I didn't. After that, I didn't do it for for 6 months, and then I did it again, and then later on in my life, I ended up smoking a lot of weed. But yeah, it was tough. Like, obviously, the relationship with my mum and my stepdad at the time, it was complicated. And you know, we had food and stuff, but because I'm in Rotherham and everyone's making money, like, I wanted to make money. And then year 8, my mum took me out of school to homeschool me. It didn't really go to plan.
Was that decision because you were maybe struggling in school, or was it just like
yeah, I wasn't doing well at school at all. In fact, my last day of school, I ended up, me and my best mate, even to this day I still speak to him, he's called Liam. We nearly had a fight in a science class, and I didn't tell my mum. The school rang my mum and told her, and we'd already been on about it for months, you know, the homeschooling and stuff, because school just wasn't. I wasn't happy in school, and obviously most kids don't like school, but I just wasn't in a good place. And yeah, my mum took me out of school in year 8, and then yeah, from then I just sort of started going down the wrong path, made a load of new mates that also didn't go to school. Started trying to knock about some weed. Didn't really make any money. I was just smoking what I would be making. And then yeah, and then it sort of just kept on going and going and going and going until eventually it all just sort of stopped. And that's what's blessed me with the opportunity to be here today. And you know, I don't really know how to say it, but it's I don't know, it's complicated, you know. Like,
well, when you say sort of coming out of school, because within our family that was a theme, wasn't it? Because your cousins, you know, we homeschooled the kids, and I talked to your mum and that about it, and we talked a lot about it, and obviously you coming out of school. But I think you came out, and like you say, maybe it didn't work out, but that journey, you from knocking a bit of weed about, at what point do you sort of meet lads that are like quite heavy, and you start thinking, okay, this is different?
So started knocking about a bit of weed, and then I had a few mates. I had a mate from school, and we both left sort of around the same time, and then he had 2 big brothers, and one of his big brothers was like 2 years above me, and we ended up being really good mates. And then his other big brother was like 19 at the time, so whatever that is, like 6 years older than me, whatever. Mm-hmm. And he had a load of mates. He was doing dodgy stuff, and his mates was sort of involved with like heavy drugs like crack and heroin and obviously cocaine and all that. And I'm going to my mates and I'm seeing, you know, a Mercedes outside, loads of nice drinks. Obviously I'm smoking weed at the time, nice weed, loads of chains, bracelets, nice clothes, and I'm thinking like, they're just here chilling. Like what are they doing? Like, and I didn't ask them. They asked me. It actually started off. They asked me to go to Scotland, and I said no. I'm not going to Scotland. You know what I mean? And
did you know what was involved in going to Scotland?
So I had an idea, but not. I didn't know what I know now. You know what I mean? But I knew what was going on. So I said no, and funnily enough, they was just like sound. Usually they'd try and lead you on, but they just said alright. And then one day they rang me again, and I was like, let's do it, like, fuck it. And I went down into town, Rotherham town. They showed me the ins and outs. Right, do this like 2 and 1, which is like 2 white, 1 brown, white for crack, brown for heroin. And yeah, started doing that, and it was horrible. Like, it was, I don't know how.
So are we talking about selling it here, or are we talking about
moving it, delivering it?
Yeah. So selling it, but for like higher up people, if that makes sense. So basically, what people would call like a soldier or a runner.
Yeah.
I was basically that, a foot soldier. So yeah, I was basically just, they would give me the parcels. They would answer the phones, then ring me, tell me where to go. I'd go, do it, come back, and then once you get to a certain amount of money, you'd get a taxi somewhere, drop the money off, get more stuff, and then do it all again. And it doesn't stop. It's literally a 24/7. Like the lines are always running.
That's interesting. You just said the lines, right? So for people at home, we're talking about county lines, right?
Yeah, county lines.
So explain county lines, because this is something that's been relatively new to me over the last couple of years, because we've been going into colleges. We went into this particular college and we always ask, you know, is there any issues with the kids out? Because we're starting to like coach kids and stuff like that. Yeah. And county lines has come up in every college. Yeah. And I was quite oblivious to it, to be honest. Yeah. And then they started explaining it, and then you're like, whoa.
Yeah, it's scary.
And it's everywhere in the UK, isn't it? Like this is a huge problem. So it's literally, do you want to explain how county lines works?
Yeah. So county lines is, obviously I'm not a professional, this is just my experience and what I know. County lines is basically, it's basically, say if someone's from Rotherham and they want to start up county lines, they'll basically obviously get a Nokia, sort up a line, and they'll get a couple kids, or they'll just get themselves, and they'll go over to, for example, Edinburgh, Scotland, Glasgow, Liverpool, anywhere like in the UK,
like the big cities.
Yeah, and yeah, that is what a county line is. A county line is basically when a line is, you know what I mean, like Rotherham was a county line, but at the same time, like, we was all from Rotherham, we was all living in Rotherham, so it wasn't like someone came from Birmingham over to Rotherham and started up a line, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's basically what county lines is. It's just like when someone
that's my understanding as well, is that it's the bigger cities
100%
expanding their reach into suburban and smaller areas through phone lines, which is what the lines mean, phone line. Actually, Lincoln's got, I don't know if you know about the Lincoln story, but Lincoln had a case, which I think it was with Lincoln and was it North Humberside? Right. But there was a big case, it was from lads from Birmingham who were feeding Lincoln, and that's when the law got changed, right? So the idea that a county line, a big city, pushing drugs into these areas where there isn't any and using kids.
Yeah, because you're what, 12 at this age?
12, at this age, I'm 13, 14, 15.
And they're seducing kids by all this, you know, you can make a lot of money, you can have
and it's Snapchat and it's encrypted apps and it's just...
Mate,
but then that case in Lincoln, I don't know, I can't remember the ins and outs details, but what I do remember is that case was that big and it had that much sort of weight in it that they changed the law. Yeah. Because prior to that, the kids were getting penalised as criminals. Yeah. Whereas they changed the law, I think, it's not verbatim here, but like they changed it to be where they're a victim of almost kidnapper crime, not like
child exploitation.
So the younger lads, in their 20s, kind of senior captain lads who were like seducing the kids in, they're part of that higher hierarchy of it. And instead of these kids getting fucking jailed they're now a victim of the crime. Because obviously it's the elders that are. It's just dark.
Like you know, like dark. You see shows like Top Boy and that, and you think, and then you're like talking to somebody who's lived through something like that, and you think this is never going to happen where I'm from, and then it is happening every day. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of it where they'll like take over houses, won't they? And it'll be like a trap house. And
I've experienced loads of them. Trap house is basically a drug user's house, and for example, we used to. I know it's bad. We would go to a trap house to someone that we sold drugs to, and we basically say to them, right, how much do you want? Like, how much crack and heroin do you want for us to stay here for 12 hours? And then they'd say, and we'd give it to them. And there'd be times where, like, in people's house, and they'd be sleeping in the kitchen, and we'd be sleeping, like, on their bed, on the sofas and that. And we'd just be giving them more and more and more, and yeah, it's bad. It's really bad.
And you're just using that as a place to, like, knock it up and distribute from.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And then once that place gets a bit dodgy and you feel like, you know,
It's on top.
yeah, then you'll move to a different one, and then you'll move to a different one, and yeah.
Mate, in the way you've explained that like literally has happened.
No.
But it's happened so quick for you though.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
from, you know, just smoking a bit of weed with your mates, going around the house.
Yeah.
Next thing, you're travelling to different cities, you're in trap houses, and it's just happened
Yeah.
overnight, and you're in it.
Yeah. It happened very quick, and I think that's probably part of the reason why I didn't have. Obviously, I was young, but looking back now, even if I was to do that now, I'd probably pass out or something. Like, even thinking about it is like just going to meet someone that takes those kind of drugs, and you've got the drugs on you, and you know that there could be another drug dealer going to meet this guy, and it could be a setup, or yeah, it was a lot. But because I was young, and like you say, because it happened so quick, I think that's why I never really had like a gut feeling basically telling me like what am I doing, you know what I mean?
Were you getting paid straight away? How did that work? Were you just getting, here's some weed, or here's some money, or you'll get this amount of money a day, or you'll get this amount for that deal, or how did that work?
Yeah, so you get, when I started, we got told we'd be getting like £700 to £1,000 a week, and I never got any of that.
No.
In fact, they bought me a little pit bike, me and my mates, a little pit bike, a 125, but then they basically said, we'll buy you this, and you just go in town for 3 weeks, and then you don't have to pay us for it, but we won't pay you. So yeah. And then every now and then they'd give us some nice weed, or they'd chuck us a bit of their clothing. You know what I mean? I just remember it happening like every time you're about to get paid, something mad would happen that means we can't get paid.
So they sold you the dream, and then kept
basically.
And that's classic, like, grooming behaviour, isn't it?
Yeah, literally.
Mate.
it's
But
dark,
like you say,
innit?
when you're in it, and you can't really see what's going on around you because you're living in it. Yeah, it must have been wild though. Like you say, some of the people you're meeting in the houses you go into and stuff, you must have been thinking.
Yeah, it's pretty true. Like, I remember one of the first, I think this was the first day I went, there was like I'm sorry for going into detail, but there was like a male prostitute, and he was like in his like 70s, like long, greasy, grey hair, and he had a white husky, and the husky had like a hole in him. And then one of the other ones had a dog, like a chihuahua, or is that how you say it? Chihuahua?
Yeah.
Like one of them little dogs. And then it ended up like killing that dog by eating it or something. And that was my first day. But because I'm with other people that are doing it, they're just looking and like, yeah, this is mad. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's sort of normal. So I'm like, I know, like deep down, I know that this is a bit mad and I shouldn't be here. But to everyone else, it's what it is, isn't it?
And
so,
also, you're that fragile kid who's lost, who's now
yeah.
trying to find identity, and probably as well, I don't want to speak for you, but I know when I was in a similar place in my world, there's a bit of frustration and anger and a kind of fuck the world anyway kind of energy in me, like, well, fuck
100%.
it, what else am I supposed to be doing? You know, there's a bit of that.
And you want to prove yourself, you know what I mean? You don't want to be that...
Take control.
Yeah, you want to be in power, and you want to be one of the guys that gets spoken about, and when people look at you, you know, reputation, that's mainly, like, I hate to say it, but that is what I wanted reputation, and
be seen.
Yeah, and all my mates had that, so I just thought I'd carry on doing it.
That first night you went home, Bailey, after an exposure like that, 'cause it's one thing selling a bit of weed, kicking about, you know, and fucking, and then having a day like that where you're literally in the county lines, you're in that world, and you go home and you get in your bed at your mum's house.
Yeah.
How did that feel?
So I actually didn't go home. I actually right. Over. Well, the plan was to stay over, and we couldn't get to sleep. I basically had to sleep on like a kitchen chair, like one of the wooden ones. I had to sleep on one of them, and I remember I had a trench coat, and I had to use that as like a quilt on my legs. And it got to the point where I ended up saying to my mates, like, I don't even care if we lose money, like I can't sleep, like we're gonna have to walk home. So we did. We walked back to my mates. It was like an hour walk, and like 2, 3 in the morning. And yeah, and then I think, obviously it was a long time ago, but I'm guessing about 3-4 days later, we just went back. I remember one time I did 7 days, and by the end of the 7 days, it was midsummer. I had a white t-shirt, and by the end of it, my t-shirt was yellow, like literally yellow.
So
Yeah.
when you say 7 day stint, that's you in a trap house.
Yeah.
And are you like measuring stuff out? Are you just distributing to other people or sending other people? Is that your job?
Yeah. So we I don't know how it works for in other situations, but in my situation, we would get like the rocks. Like sometimes I've never cooked crack, but I've seen it. I've been taught how to cook crack. But yeah, we used to get like a rock of crack and heroin, and then we just have to put it on a table or on scales, and then you chop it down into 0.05, and then you'd get like, you know, like cigarette rizzlers. You can get brown ones and white ones, and obviously brown for brown, white for white. And yeah, I always used to do that because I was the quickest actually, so I always used to do the weighing up and that, and then other people, like my mates, would go sell it, and then half an hour we'd swap, I'd go sell it, they'd chop it up, and yeah, that's sort of how it works.
When's the first time you got scared?
First time I got scared was...
Like really scared, like...
Really scared. The first time I got really scared was when I was in a trap house with my mate. Like I said, I'm not going to say any names, but I basically got a phone call. We had red shop and black shop, and I got a phone call to go to black shop.
Is this a trap house?
Yeah. So I'm in a trap house, but for example, like we've got names for different spots where we'd meet people to sell.
Right. Yeah.
So we'd, you know what I mean, like different alleyways,
Yeah,
different shops, parks, and I got told to go to one called Black Shop, and I went. And as I went, there was a big Ford Transit van. Like I'm walking up, the transit van's parked there, staring at me, and I've like gone round, but there's 3 grown men in the van, and they're staring at me. And I can see one in the middle is one of the drug users that I've sold to before. So I'm thinking, right, this is a bit dodgy. And as I've turned now, I'm walking away. My mate at the time and one of the guys that had the nice cars and that, one of the higher ups, they sort of pulled up next to the van and like looked into the van as if to say like,
what you up to?
Yeah, something's going on here. And when I've gone to do the sale, no one's there. So now I'm thinking, right, something's going on here. And then I get back and I'm trying to sort it out. I'm ringing my mates like, right, we need to deal with this. Like, what's, you know what I mean? We're still here. They know we're here. They've just watched me walk in here. Like, we need to move. And they basically just said, nah, leave it, it's fine. And then that night, again, I was sat chopping up, like weighing all the drugs up. And my mate was sat on the bed and I heard a bang. And I thought it was a firework at first. So I've like stood up, I've looked at my mate as if to say like, did you hear that? And I remember, I didn't say it, but I remember I was going to say it. And as I was about to say it, another bang went off, window shattered and that. And my mate came up to me and grabbed me and just chucked me to the floor. And then another 2 shots went off. And me and my mate are just like, what's going on, you know what I mean? And
So somebody's shooting the windows up?
yeah. Bullets came through the window. And basically this trap house was shared accommodation. So, and most of, I think there was like 5 people staying in there and like 4 of them was drug users. So everyone knew what was going on. But we didn't want to go out the back door because it was like the terrace houses, like the little alleyways under the house. So we didn't want to go out the house yet, so we ran upstairs. And as we ran upstairs, we can hear police in the alleyway and stuff, and my mate's ringing the higher ups basically just saying like, what do we do? And they're saying you need to flush all the drugs. And then my mate's saying, nah, I don't want to flush the drugs because that's money. But then I'm thinking like,
mate, you're getting the windows blown out and like ringing them up, they're not saying, oh, like get yourself safe. They're like, sort the drugs out. Your mate's thinking, I'm keeping the drugs. Your life's at stake.
Exactly. So yeah, obviously we didn't want to go downstairs, so we ended up jumping out the window, the bathroom window, and climbing like to the top of the garden, jumped over the fence. And I remember we crossed the road, got in a tree, and then we thought, no, we're going to come back. So we came back, not to the house, but to like the end of the garden. I remember we just sat in this bush for like literally like 2-3 hours, ringing taxis. No taxis are picking up. We don't want to walk back because
who knows?
Exactly.
So who was responsible for shooting the windows out then? Do you know?
I've got an idea of like who it could have been, but it's never been proven. You know what I mean? We've always just thought it could have been this guy, it could have been that guy. Who knows? But yeah, we believe that it was one of. Basically, in Rotherham, it will be the same as anywhere else. It's like have you seen the film Get Rich or Die Trying?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically like, say Rotherham's just a little square here, and there's people doing stuff there, people doing stuff there, and people doing stuff there. That's all right. Like, as long as we don't go into theirs.
You're on your patch.
Yeah, that's fine. No one will get hurt.
Yeah.
But then people start going into their territory and they start coming into ours, and we think that's what it was. We think that we must have gone into their territory without knowing, and they basically just sent a little message saying like,
off you get.
Yeah.
Mate, that is wild. Because we're not talking about dust up here. We're talking about you're how old?
At the time.
14 at this time.
14.
Pretty sure, yeah.
And
Fucking hell.
mate.
Yeah.
So what happens internally in a county line? When, on the night you've rang the elders and you're like, shit, what do we do? And they're like, get rid of the drugs. And then the day after, it's like, fuck, what then? Is there a tell us what you saw? Tell us, or is it just like fucking move on, get out of there? And
Well, after that, we ended up getting a taxi to my mates, and we told them like we've just been shot at, and they was like, what you on about? And didn't believe us, and I was like, nah, genuinely. And then we've told the elders, and they believed us. And me and my mate who got shot at, they didn't tell us to go back, but the line was still on. You know what I mean? There was still people going and keeping going. But yeah, it sort of just doesn't stop. It sort of just kept going.
And that's the first time you really thought, whoa.
Yeah, obviously I've been scared in situations where I might be having a fight, but fear, like where it's like,
this is so serious. This is real deep water.
Life or death sort of. That's
was there a lot of violence?
Yeah.
Like, was it, when you're going to drop offs and stuff, or with elders, or did you see a lot of violence in that world?
I've not. Obviously, I've seen scraps and stuff. I've not seen loads of violence. I saw not one of my mates, but one of like my mates, like a mate of a mate, and he came down to our area at the time, and this was nothing to do with county lines or drugs. This was just us chilling. And he had like a gold bracelet on, and one of the elders basically went up to him and just said like, that bracelet's pretty nice, like pass it here. And he was like, no, because it was his dad's bracelet, and his dad passed away. Rest in peace. And he was standing up for himself. He was basically just like, no, like you're not having it. And he was like, yeah, all right, sound. And then he pulled a knife out, and he didn't, like when people say stabbing, people think like stabbing, you know what I mean? And he didn't do that. He sort of just like pushed it in his belly, and then he was like poking. He was poking his belly, poking his leg, his arm. And there was another guy, and he had his ear, and he wasn't cutting his ear, but he just had his ear on the knife like this, like that bit there. And he was just like threatening to cut his ear off. And he didn't realise he was getting stabbed. And then as he was walking off, they basically told him to go, and as he was walking off, he looked, and that's when he realised that he'd been stabbed. Luckily, it wasn't that bad, but it still is bad. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, they're not sending a blade like
4
inches inside, but they just
kept
puncturing you everywhere.
Yeah, literally.
That's probably intentional though. Like they're doing that.
Message,
and even being able to do that, like just being able to just stand there peacefully and just poking someone like that's a lot younger than you as well.
So how old was this lad that they done it to?
I think he was at the time probably 16, 17 maybe. 17 I'd say.
You must be looking at that thinking, shit, if they can do that to him, because he would just been like one of the soldiers like you, right?
Well, no, he wasn't involved in any of it, to be honest. He was obviously in Rotherham, like smoking weed and that, but in terms of what I was doing, he wasn't doing any of that. He just had a nice bracelet on, and
just
they
in the
wanted
wrong place,
yeah, wrong place at the wrong time.
And so that journey you're on, then I imagine there's more moments like that. You're just getting deeper into that world and into that life, and then eventually. You said you found God. You had a moment. You know what leads you there. What is the moment where things change? And
but there was another moment in a trap house, wasn't there? Where
yeah.
Should we talk?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, this story's wild enough up to this point, but it is. About
I know, yeah, and we're going to be over our usual time here, guys.
Yeah,
because this is compelling, isn't it?
Yeah. So this time, this is a couple months after I've obviously the house got shot at, and funnily enough, it was like terraced houses, basically just a street, houses there, houses here, and the house that I got shot at was like on one side, and then couple weeks later, I crossed the road and I was in this house. Literally, they faced
another
each
trap
other.
house, same street, just
yeah,
up the
literally
road.
across. Like you could look out the window and it was across.
Wow.
And so yeah, I was in the other one, and I wasn't actually meant to go for long because of what happened a couple of weeks before. Even the oldest said like, "We're gonna come with you," and they did. It was me and the same mate that I got shot at with. He was with me, and two of the olders. And we was in there smoking, just chilling, playing music. And then them two ended up saying like, "We've got to go for a bit. We're gonna go pick up some stuff. Can you two just wait here? Like you don't have to do anything. Just sit here."
Yeah.
So we said yeah, obviously. And I remember one of them left me their bag. It was a Versace bag, and it had like 80 quid in coins in it. So I had that on. And yeah, we're trying to sort some weed out to smoke. Can't find any. And funnily enough, the drug user had a niece who was like a year or two older than me, and she was in the house with us, and two of her mates was with us as well. So basically, just like kids like us, just girls. You know what I mean? They didn't do any drugs. They was just there because it was her auntie's house. And yeah, we ended up hearing like banging at the door, and obviously we're in a trap house. Like it's dodgy. It could be police. It could be anyone. So I'm pretty scared, and I'm saying to the girls like, "Don't answer the door." And then the niece runs upstairs, looks out the window, comes down, and she's like, "It's my uncle. Don't let him in." So then I'm thinking, right, it's her uncle, but then I'm thinking, why can't he come in? Like he's banging at the door. Why can't he come in? And my mate had an axe, and he was putting the axe under the stairs, and I'm saying like, "No, you should keep it out. Like I don't want to hurt anyone, but if stuff's about to happen, like you want to know that you've got something to protect yourself with." And he's like, nah, leave it, it's family. And I had a knife on me that I was cutting stuff up with. And yeah, one of her mates, one of the niece's mates, ended up just opening the door. And it was like 3 or 4 men. It could have been 5. Like it happened in a flash, but a couple men came running in with an axe, crowbar, whatever. And yeah, came running in, came to my mate. I'm in like the corner here. My mate's like there. The front door's to the left of us, in front of us. And my mate's screaming and that. And my mate just ended up booting his legs. So this grown man, I'm talking like 30, 40 years old, he's just fell to the floor. And this house is shared accommodation as well. Like the layout's shared accommodation, but it's only one person living in it. So there's fire doors. So my mates opened the door behind us into the utility room, ran out the back door, and one of the guys has gone to chase him. So now I'm just in this house by myself with 3 or 4 of these grown men with weapons. I've got a weapon, but I don't want to hurt anyone. And this guy's on the floor because my mate's just booted his legs. So I'm just screaming to him, you know, I'm scared. I'm really scared. But I didn't, you know, they're not scared and they want to hurt me. So I'm just trying to show strength and I'm trying to show dominance. So I'm just screaming. I don't even know what I was screaming. I was just screaming, shouting.
Primal, like.
And what are they saying to you? Are they like?
Honestly, I can't even remember. It just went so fast. But yeah, it was life or death. Like I was willing to.
Have they come to take drugs then? Have they come to just tax and take the money, take the drugs? And
they didn't take anything. This is what I mean. Like,
was it to get you out the house? Do you think?
I think so. Yeah, I think. As mad as it sounds, I think they just wanted to hurt us. But obviously, I don't know. Though there must have been a reason to that, but I don't know what the reason. Like to this day,
I'm just thinking there. Were you saying it was the woman who was the drug user, her nieces, and if that's her uncle, maybe
it's her brother.
Yeah, he's coming to get the
who
stop
are these
the trap
people?
house, innit?
Who's these people?
Protect his sister.
Right.
Well, I know one of the guys that was there, the brother, and the brother just came out of prison. He's been in prison loads, and he just got out of prison like a couple of days before this.
Mm.
So I'm already thinking like, all right, what's going on? But yeah, like I said, I'm just screaming, shouting. I don't know what. I'm just showing. It was like something like natural,
just primal.
Yeah,
just survival,
literally,
like fight or flight.
It was fight or flight. So yeah, my mate's gone. This guy's now getting up. He's on one knee and he's looking up to me, and he grabbed me like that, like by my jacket. And obviously I've got this flick knife that, like I said, I've been chopping up with. And I'm just saying to him, like, you need to go, like, you need to leave me alone, screaming and that. And then he ends up getting up, and I remember him like towering above me, like slowly just towering above me. So I'm like, alright, fuck this. And I ended up just like, it was like I was punching him, obviously with the knife in his arm. And I didn't want to hurt him, but if I didn't do that, I probably wouldn't be here today. So yeah, I think I stabbed him in his arm, in like his shoulder, like 3 times. And then I did that, and then he ended up like looking at his arm, stepping back. And then the guy that went to chase my mate came back in, and like I said, there was fire doors, so the door should have closed, but the guy had hold of the door. And I remember like going under his arm, like as if you're gonna roll a punch. I literally rolled under his arm while he's holding the door, and I saw the axe. And as I've like turned around to go out the back door, I just felt bang on my head. So I'm thinking like, whoa, what's going on here? And then I keep running. I see my mate at the end of the alleyway, and I'm just saying to him like, run, like they're coming, run. And then this is quite funny, as we're in the alleyway.
This sweating.
Yeah. So as we're in the alleyway, I can see a figure like in the alleyway looking at me and my mate. But obviously I can't turn around because I'm getting chased. I can't turn left because there's gardens and houses. I can't turn right because there's also gardens. So I've just got to run through this guy, and I'm just running towards him, screaming. My mate fell on the floor. He's like cut all his knee and that. And yeah, I'm just running towards him, and he just smacks me in my nose and busts all my nose and that. So yeah, I just keep running, and I didn't.
Was he one of these lads?
I'm guessing so. So we sort of spoke about it earlier after it happened, and I'm guessing that they sent some people to the front, and then because they knew there's only one way out, they also sent some people to the back. But the guy at the back clearly didn't do his best job. So yeah, and I sort of knew that I'd been hit with an axe, but it didn't, because it was all in the moment. I didn't really...
Yeah, adrenaline, and you just on the move.
But the moment I realised was, like, literally we came out of the alleyway, like within like 5 seconds this is...
So when he's punched you, you just sort of scurried back up and managed to keep...
Well, I didn't fall, he just punched me, like, it was just like bang, and I just kept going.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
It was mad. I didn't even know what he looked like. I honestly just saw a black figure, and I just literally just went running into him.
Fuck.
But yeah, and then we get to a car park now, and I mean like literally the alleyway's here and the car park's after the alleyway. And as I'm running, I'm starting to lose breath, like my vision's going mad, I'm weak. And I keep turning around to like look behind me, and as I look behind me, there's no one there. But I can see like a black figure, like literally as if someone's drawn just a grey figure. And every time I look around, like it's in the exact same distance. It's not moving, it's literally just, and it's in the exact same distance every time I turn around. And there was no one there. And I'm saying to my mate, because my mate was a lot older than me as well, so he was like an older to me. And I ended up saying to him, like, why are you leaving me? Like, I'm dying. Like, I need you, sort of thing. And we keep running, and then we get into an alleyway, and the alleyway comes to a dead end. So we're like, right, this is mad. And now I can't see out of this eye because of the blood. So I remember wiping my face and seeing the blood, and I'm like, fuck. And literally I'd wipe it, I'd be able to see within like 2 seconds it's there again. And my mate didn't even know what had happened to me. So I remember like turning to my mate, I'm like, yo, am I bleeding? And he's like, no, it's alright. And I'm saying like, yo, am I bleeding? And he's like, no, and he turns to me and he just starts screaming, like literally just starts screaming. Yeah, he just started screaming, and I'm like, alright. So I remember pulling my phone out, and as I pulled it out, it's just slipped out my hands because of all the blood. So I've gone to pick it up again, and I'm like wiping it, the blood's dripping on it. So I'm like having to hold my phone over here, like trying to call 999. So I rang them, and they was like, obviously I got the ambulance, and I basically just said, I've been hit in the head with an axe in Rotherham. And they're like, what? And I'm like, I've been hit with an axe, like I think I'm gonna die, like. Anyway, jump into a garden and then into another garden. I think we jumped into a third garden, terrace houses again. And as I'm on the phone to the ambulance, I've told them where I am and they're coming. And my mate, say I'm just here, I've got like my knees up like this, I'm covering my head. And I'm pretty sure I was covering this side of my head as well. I didn't know where I'd been hit. So I'm covering this side of my head. So I'm still bleeding out. And I remember like my mate's on this fence quite high up. And he's like, right, you need to come up here. Like, we could hear cars driving around and that, we're thinking it's them, it could have been them. And yeah, I ended up trying to climb up this fence, couldn't get up. And then he grabbed me by my hand, tried pulling me up. I was too weak, couldn't get up. And I ended up just saying to him, like, it is what it is, like, it's done.
Do you think you were going to die in that car?
Yeah, 100%. And I ended up looking into the alleyway, and there was 3 guys, 3 men. And obviously we're thinking, this is them, like, they're coming back to finish us. So I tried climbing up again, didn't climb up. I ended up, like, fist bumping my mate and just saying, it is what it is. And then on the phone to the ambulance, I just put that next to me, took my jumper off of my head, and I just sat there and closed my eyes. And I opened my eyes, and it wasn't even them, it was some Slovakian people. And they was just like, call an ambulance. And I was like, I'm on the phone, like, the ambulance should be here. And they're like, all right, sound. And then they're turning and they're saying, call an ambulance. And I'm like, I'm on the phone, like, the ambulance is coming. And then yeah, the ambulance ended up coming, and my mate was all right. I don't know what, to this day, no one knows what happened to my mate. Like, he had loads of lines in his knee. I think it was 8, but they was perfect. So basically, if someone had stabbed him, they'd literally have had to been there like that. So I think he just fell over and landed on some glass or something, but he was...
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously hard for him to hear. I mean, I'll be honest, mate, my jaw's like on the floor. I've never heard anything like this.
Yeah,
and I mean, you guys are family, and
yeah,
it's obviously having a big impact here and that. It's just stuff you don't... I mean, you're 18.
Yeah.
Nobody should ever experience that sort of stuff in a full lifetime, man. You're a kid.
Yeah, 100%. They shouldn't, and it was traumatising, really traumatising. And I'd say for a year or probably 2 years, even to this day, like, walking in Lincoln, like, I'll walk around Lincoln, like, going to the barbers, like, that's a big thing for me, like, even...
Knives and stuff, like the blades, do you mean?
Well, walking there, just leaving the house, you know, like, being in the house by myself, I can do it because I'm getting to the point now where I know it's just all in my mind, and it can happen, but it's not going to happen.
Because you've heard of PTSD, right?
Yeah.
Post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of people have a misconception about PTSD, that it's only people that have been in combat or, you know, in the military and whatnot, or in a war zone. But if you think about the actual wording of it, traumatic, right?
Yeah.
That
100%.
Not many people are going to have a more traumatic experience than that.
Yeah,
at a young age.
Yeah, and I'd say there's different, you know, there's different stages to PTSD. You know, like, mine compared to someone like a veteran won't be that bad at all, but then mine compared to someone who's not experienced what I've experienced.
Yeah, it's all relative. It's all context, and what's wrapped up as well for your story, which is the graphic narrative that people are exploring now, but there'll be young lads listening to this who are experiencing something similar, and like, there's so much wrapped up in that trauma, because there's identity, there's loss, there's belonging, there's fear, there's fucking the what is it to be a young lad, you know, where is the identity, that reputation you talked of, to be seen, to be valued, like, it's all wrapped up in this, and then you end up in a situation like that where you're like, your life, you really let it go, like, fucking this is it.
Yeah.
15-year-old man. I just can't believe you sat here at 18 with such a level head on you, man, being able to talk about this, honestly.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
And that circles us back, doesn't it? Because you said about, you had an epiphany, you had a fork in the road.
Yeah.
So what, I guess, is it when you're recovering and you're sort of, because I know, you know, we're a little bit time sensitive, but your mum's house, my sister's house, middle of the night, armed raid, there's obviously, they've been watching, there's all that side of it, the family and gets pulled in.
So the day I got hit with an axe, obviously I've gone to hospital, whatever, and my mates came to hospital, my mum came. I ended up, like, turning to my mum and saying, like, I might convert to Muslim, and which I'm not now, you know. That was just in the moment. I haven't got anything against any religions or anything like that. Mm-hmm. In the moment, I knew that there was something telling me, like the first sign was getting shot at. The second sign was, all right, you didn't listen to that, so you're going to listen to this. I didn't listen to that. And then I think it was like 6 or 7 months later, my house got raided. And they found like 12 ounces of weed, loads of knives, SIM cards, just loads of stuff. And like Sam said, they tracked me as a victim to child exploitation. And that to me was God basically saying to me, like, right, I've gave you all these signs, you've not listened to any of them, so now I'm not giving you a choice.
So even after the axe incident, you still kept in that world?
Yeah. To be honest, the olders didn't even let me do what I was doing before, but I was still selling weed, going with them to do the crack and the heroin. And yeah, so I was still heavily involved in it. But then yeah, after my house got raided, I remember as I came out the cells and I went home, obviously I didn't have my phone or anything, I was just laid in bed. And my mum came and woke me up, and the police rang her and basically said, like, you're under section 47, which is basically your house is at risk of getting petrol bombed. You need to leave, like, now. And my mum was like, all right, we'll start to pack up in the morning then. And they was like, no, like, you need to leave, like, ASAP.
So they've had some intelligence that was going to happen in your house?
Yeah, so I think it was, I don't know how many months it was, but they was doing like a 6 month.
Yeah, big surveillance one. Was it like 9 simultaneous raids or something like that?
Yeah, there was loads of raids on the same day, like me.
So when you think about his mum, like,
did she know anything about the world you were in?
No.
Or did you kept it from her?
I kept it from her, or at least I tried to the best of my ability. You know what I mean? Like, she might have known that I was having fights and you know, getting up to no good, but nowhere.
And what about the money? Like, it's the money thing. I getting around having like a bit of gear and money and stuff. And,
yeah, that's another thing.
You know, like all of a sudden you're pretty flush and you've got stuff going on,
and
and probably grown up a lot as well. You probably
100%.
notice in your character like a lot of like, I don't know, independence development. But what a mad thing for families, like for your mum, for you know, your siblings, for the family, like. And for people who might be on this track, you know, like the upheaval, the impact of it is fucking enormous, isn't it?
Yeah.
To get told, leave your house now because you're going to get petrol bomb and you've got little kids. And you've got to go now and never come back to Robin, by the way. Never can go back. They had to go into protection.
Yeah, we had to leave.
You've got to put in protection.
Mate. And you've got little sister?
Right? Yeah, a little sister and a little brother. Yeah.
So how are you feeling about this whole thing now? Not in this moment, but in that moment.
In that moment, I was. It's gonna sound mad, but for some reason, obviously, I felt horrible. You know, like my family's having to change their whole lives because of me, and you know, I was guilty and full of shame. But for some reason, like at the same time, like it didn't bother me as much as like you think it would have, because like, it got to the point I was in like a $2,500 debt with one of the olders, because after I got hit with an axe, I was selling weed and I was in loads of debt, loads of stress. My mates aren't real mates. I've got a girlfriend who's, you know, doing whatever. And yeah, when we did move away from Rotherham, it's sort of like it was like a weight off my shoulders, you know.
That's really interesting. So in a way then it was that just release of like even though the guilt, the shame for your family and everything, but a relief to just be out of it, and then you taking that opportunity to that fork in the road.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm gonna make my life better. I am not fucking turning back to that kind of thing. And
And is that when that epiphany came, when you left Rotherham and you?
Yeah, so the epiphany came when I got hit with an axe, but I didn't listen to it. I started to listen to it when I left Rotherham, and that's when I started to get close to God, and you know, I started working on myself physically, mentally, and yeah, I've gained a lot from the whole thing, really, being in Rotherham, leaving Rotherham. I've matured a lot as a person. 100%.
Mate, honestly, do you know, just listening to that story come out of your mouth, I've just, like I say, so compelling, but I'm just can't get my head around it as well, you know, just a normal lad, and then this just happens in your life.
And
so
what's
quickly.
scary, Ray, is this is everywhere.
Yeah,
oh yeah,
everywhere.
There'll be people out there. My story will be nothing compared to some people out there, younger than me, older than me.
Kids getting taken out of school, truck off to trap houses, do 2 or 3 weeks, return them. They do it on cycles and shit now, like.
So there's no suspicion.
Yeah, because kids are going missing, you know, troubled kids, and just the thing feeds itself, and it's just you're just so lucky, Bailey, that you've had that insight, and you know, like we come back to the beginning of this podcast and we talked about the music and the message now.
Yeah.
You know, like that. There really was that. You could have gone deeper, like fuck it, look, I'm rising the ranks, I've been amongst it, I've got the scars, I've got fucking kudos, I'm heavy.
Yeah.
But you've gone the other way and realising, and everything you're doing now, like the cousin you are, the way you look after the little ones, your brother and your sister, the responsibility that's in you, getting on the straight and narrow, trying to earn money, getting, I don't want to say too much about your plans and stuff, but you're on track to being a proper man, and I want to say on behalf of us, sharing this story, it's going to be tough for some of our family to hear, right? But 100%. It's the truth, isn't it?
Yeah, it is the truth.
For the fucking, I don't know, many families or youngsters and people that might be being touched by this right now and going through this stuff, is going to be a helpful insight, because now, right, them young lads. And when you came back to Lincoln, it's interesting, I always remember that, and you said it at the beginning about, basically Lincoln's not Manchester, Lincoln's not Rotherham, right? The Birchwood, where you grew up, one of the biggest estates in Europe at one time, right? It's one of the rough parts of Lincoln. Yeah. But even by your own young understanding, you knew, fucking hell, this is different, right? Yeah. And then when you've come back to Lincoln, and you mentioned Top Boy, and you can see the influence of like young lads from like a place that ain't that place, but they want to be from that place. Yeah. They want to walk around with the roadman gear, and they want to have that thing, and it's like, that's frightening culturally, that it's kind of feeding the idea of, and the drill, and the whole message of like, just the ag of it all, and the reality is that's the fucking reality.
Yeah, and that is another thing. When I came back to Lincoln, I lived with you for a bit, and I'm not going to say any names, but because in Lincoln, it is happening in Lincoln, there is people in Lincoln.
Yeah, the lines
are in every set you want it.
Yeah, 100%. But there's also people who have got nothing to do with that. Their parents are together, they've got nice clothes, there's always, 3 meals a day. And they'll dress up as if they want to do that. They'll talk as if they want to do that. They'll act as if they want to do that. And there's been times where I have said to people like, "What? It's not cool. Like I've been there. It's traumatizing. You need to stop." But now I just sort of,
you've got to let it be.
Yeah, you just got to leave it, because who is people to listen to me?
I'll be honest though. You saying that, right? Obviously, when we were in a moment in our lives, right, where we look back and you think, I remember being in a moment, right, and thinking, why is this happening to me? Yeah. Why am I going through this, right? Yeah. And now through the work that we do, and spreading awareness and helping people, and just trying to be better, and through the coaching and the talks and that, I honestly can see the way you can tell your story as well, and you've got to be in a place for that. And I'm sure there'll be things you need to go through and still healing and whatnot. And but who knows what the future lies for you, where you could maybe really inspire people to take a different 100%. Road in life, because this doesn't seem like it's something that's going to be getting, it may even get worse before it gets better, because we're talking about cost of living crisis and all that. And
look at the manosphere at the minute. You're seeing it like even online, even in the healthy version of it, where lads are just gaming girls and fucking the whole reputational thing. Like, there's a lot to be said about young man talking to young men, isn't there?
Yeah, like voices like his are going to be so powerful, and I think even through the work that we do, going into colleges, and you maybe coming in and being part of that, and just that message that you just said, look, there's nothing fucking glamorous about this, like, this is chaos, and it nearly cost me my life.
100%.
It's powerful stuff, man. Honestly, Bailey, all I can say is thank you so much for coming on. Honestly,
thank you for having me.
Look,
appreciate it.
And look, good luck with everything you're hoping for, and I'm sure you'll get there, man. But
yeah, I appreciate it.
And it must have been tough for your to be listening to that, because I was like,
well, we've heard it. It's just obviously I talked, and we spent time together, and we went camping and tried to create a space for you to be able to talk, right? And I've heard it all, but like, there's something about sitting here. Funnily enough, we've talked about this with music, haven't we? When we make music, make a tune and you kind of hate your own tune because it's you. Yeah. And then you send it to someone you love, and then they're listening to it, and you listen to it at the same time they're listening to it, and it allows you to be them to listen to it. So you're not you. Yeah. And I felt that here. Like, I'm them. I'm somebody listening to your story from the outside, and it's like, fuck.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
No, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. And thank you, everybody. Peace and love.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, mate. Fucking hell. I was fucking transfixed there.
Oh my God.
That is wild, man. Oh, mate.
Yeah.